Early signs of consensus here at COP28, especially on a loss and damage agreement. For you, is that progress on a contentious issue?
That's definitely progress, but now concrete action needs to take place on the ground. ICRC colleagues across the world see firsthand the immense suffering of communities and people affected by the combined effects of conflict and climate change. Those are much more visible, they are much more felt by communities, and climate action and climate finance should reach those very difficult places. And this decision about the loss and damage fund is certainly a positive step.
Still a lot of criticism about this mechanism, that there's not enough money. We don't know who's going to receive it. In what form will they receive it? What would you like to see happen in that space to ensure that vulnerable communities receive the funds that they so desperately need?
There should be acceleration of all the steps that will ensure that concrete climate action and finance will reach those people, because the issue is urgent from a humanitarian standpoint and cannot wait many years to come to figure out what are the mechanisms and what are the right disbursement tools. So time is of the essence and it's urgent.
We hear that developing nations are crying out for urgent assistance, and loss and damage is one of the ways that they can receive this assistance. Are you hearing the collective voice of the developing world here at COP28 and that their needs are being met by powerful decision makers?
Well, that's the whole purpose of having COP here. The grievances are very important, understandably so, when we see the impact of climate change in developing countries and for communities day in and day out. So of course, much more needs to be done, much faster, and those cries from the heart are legitimate, and I think the world and the international community should address this issue head on.
Do you believe that COP28 can help change the trajectory that the planet is on? Climate science is showing us that, more extremes are happening. People on the front line of this climate crisis are feeling those impacts. What can be achieved here in Dubai?
Well, as a humanitarian, we need to always keep hope and high spirits. This is the only forum at the end of the day where decision makers can meet in the same place and over the same issues, and climate change is the burning issue of our planet. I think mitigation efforts should be doubled down. The 1.5 target should be still living here, and concrete action needs to happen in order to ensure that the situation will not further deteriorate. I mean, we bear witness to more floods, more displacement of people, more droughts, undermining the livelihoods and the lives of many communities across the globe. So for us, it's a burning issue, and mitigation is important as much as adaptation efforts are also important. We need to help communities that are already being the victims of climate shocks also adapt to this extremely challenging situation.
Talk to me about the intersection between climate change and conflict and what your teams are starting to see or see at a more regular occurrence, these two events feeding each other.
No, indeed, and if you take the 25 countries that are most affected by climate change and where communities are the least equipped to absorb the shocks, and where, by the way, those countries are also the least responsible for climate change, 16 out of the 25 are places where already there has been conflict raging for many, many years. And so it's a vicious cycle. I think today scientists agree that climate change is not triggering conflict, but when the two dynamics intersect, you see one exacerbating the effect of the other. And so climate shocks, repeated floods and droughts exacerbate the tensions between communities. It increases the level of armed violence that in turn put people in harm's way. And this is why at ICRC we are really focusing on those most vulnerable in the equation of the climate change global challenge, because they are in dire need of support and they need it now, here and now.